for joining us. Okay, if you get a chance, please put in the chat what kind of medical practice you have. Okay, who's going to be the first? Type it in. There's this little box over to the right on the bottom. All right, we've got some internal medicine, weight loss clinics, med spas, functional medicine practitioners, orthopedics, chiropractors. Welcome, welcome, everyone. All right. Well, I think we're live right now. So, Erica, I believe we're live. So, we'll just go ahead and get started. Welcome, everybody. So, welcome to this month's Doc Talk. Now, we do these monthly Zooms to give us a chance to connect with other healthcare professionals who are also affiliates with Make Wellness. And as you guys know from the chat, we're going to range from medical doctors to holistic practitioners. And we're all basically introducing bioactive precision peptides to the marketplace nationwide. So, for those of you that are new, just to let you know, we're going to be offering these Zooms on the second Thursday of every month. And each time we'll be highlighting different guests so that you can gain just several perspectives from your industry peers who are doing the business and paving the way. And we're very committed to creating a community where you can learn best practices, compare notes with each other, and just connect with each other as you're doing this journey together. So before we get started, let me introduce myself. My name is Tangi Johnson Bridgman, and I am a health coach and wellness strategist. And I'm working in the executive coaching space, and I'm very passionate about helping leaders leverage wellness as a leadership strategy. Now, I also co-own a sports chiropractic clinic with my husband here, and we live here in Washington State. So tonight, I have the pleasure of introducing two Make Wellness affiliates who are amongst the first to be able to integrate bioactive precision peptides into their brick and mortar healthcare businesses. So the first person I'm going to be introducing a little bit later, we're going to start with Dr. Brandon Bridgman of Bridgman Health Solutions, and he owns a cutting-edge sports chiropractic and recovery clinic in Bellevue, Washington. And for those of you who are paying attention, you notice he lives in Washington State, and he's my husband and my better half. And so we're very excited because he is so good at specializing in helping athletes with faster recovery, but also peak performance with his unique hybrid recovery approach that's considered the go-to standard for our elite athletes here in Washington. Then we're going to be able to talk to Katie Foray, who is also a practice coordinator at a very popular med spa on the North Shore of New Orleans called Hara Wellness and Aesthetics, and they do it all. They specialize in whole patient care and anti-aging. They offer everything from cosmetic and aesthetic injectables to weight loss, medical weight loss, hormone therapy, and gut health optimization. So we have two fabulous guests that we're going to be talking to. And both of these businesses are now incorporating BPP. So that's what I'm going to term bioactive precision peptides. And they're offering it in their practices, and they're going to be excited to educate their clients and their patients on the future of health and wellness with what we're very proud of, and that's our all natural solution that are clinically proven. So before we jump into our guests, let me do a little bit of housekeeping because I want to make sure you know about perhaps our most important tool that we're going to offer you as a healthcare professional that's doing this business, and that is our doctor's reference book. Now, in this digital flip book, you're going to be able to hear from other medical and holistic practitioners, and you'll be able to explore the different ways that they're using the BPPs within or even outside of their business. For example, we have a surgeon who is in this business, but she's not doing the business within her practice. She's actually doing it outside of the practice. But that way, you're able to be exposed to practitioners that are integrating this within their business model and some who are doing this business outside of their business model. In this digital flip book, we also have marketing materials in there that you're going to be able to use. So just make sure that you poke around. Now, I want to make sure you know how to access it. So right here, we have the QR code, and you can take a moment. If you have your phones on you, just take a moment to scan the QR code to be able to access our Doctor's digital flip book. Now, when you go into this link at the very back, you will also be able to find a link to our Facebook page. So we have launched a new Facebook group. And if you go to the Facebook page, you can also find the link to the flip book under guides. But another way that you can get to the Facebook group, if you just want to go to your Facebook page and type in the URL, facebook.com/group/make healthcare, you will be able to find it that way as well. Now, remember, this group is exclusively for healthcare professionals that are affiliates with Make Wellness. So, because of that, when you go to the page and you go to get in, you will need to answer a few questions to be admitted, but this is to maintain the exclusivity of this group within this Facebook group. All right. So now it's time to meet our first guest. We're going to introduce Mr. Dr. Brandon Bridgman, who's a sports chiropractor, like I said, specializing in helping athletes with high performers recover faster and perform at their peak using his unique hybrid recovery approach. And I couldn't be more proud. So, Dr. B, which is his nickname, I want to start by asking you, I would like for you to start by sharing with us just a little bit about your current business model because it's different than what you were doing 15 years ago before I met you. But just give us some context to understand what your current business model looks like now.
So I've been in practice now for years. And the first half of my practice,
Actually, Dr. B, one second. Could you make sure that you're unmuted? So just tap the phone, you'll see a microphone, and then you just need to tap it. There you go.
Yes, I'm the head of our IT department here, as you can see. No. So I've been in practice for 23 years, and the first 10 years, I was more of a high volume clinic, traditional chiropractic, see as many people as you can in a day. Excuse me. And then it wasn't quite as fulfilling, and so as I developed after that 10 years, I started spending more time with patients, adding extra services, laser decompression, weight loss, nutrition, and just really treating patients how I would like to be treated. My specialty is with soft tissue work, extremities, so your shoulders, elbows, wrists, knees, ankles, where work outside of the spine. And well, I guess 10 years ago, came to Bellevue, which is just on the outside of Seattle. And my main reason, of course, was Tangi and I wanted to live there. And I wanted to have an athlete clinic, primarily, professional collegiate athletes in the area. And I didn't want to do insurance. And so I changed the model from high volume to higher quality, longer duration treatments. So a little more expensive, of course, but we're spending a lot more time, and I'm doing the treatment that I feel that they really need, and it's been a lot of fun. Um, and it's also was very helpful through COVID when you couldn't have employees and all that. So it was kind of forced to pivot, as Tangi would say. But where I'm at now, I have another associate with me. Um, and we're looking to hire some more in a couple of years, but that's where we're at, and I love it, helping patients.
No, that's really good. And thank you for sharing that because the reason why I asked is because as healthcare professionals in this network, we're looking for people who have businesses that are similar to ours. So if we're wanting to compare notes and see how other people are doing things, it's important to understand, for example, that your business is a smaller boutique style
Right.
clinic. Right? So that people understand you don't have a staff, it's you and another associate doctor. And so that's going to be a little bit different than a big box clinic that has a full-blown front desk staff. So I just wanted to put that out there first. So I happen to know that you are a huge fan of supplements. So can you tell us why?
Yeah, I mean, I love supplements. One, I've always been into lifting weights and performance, but I'm also a third generation chiropractor. So going back as far as my grandma, grandpa, they were into nutrition supplements. My parents, my dad sold supplements in his clinic. Um, and it's great business, but the demineralization of the soil and all the nutrients that are lost in today's food productions, you need all the help you can get, and it's tough to find what's a trusted brand, what works, and so that's kind of where I'm at. And I've done a lot of different supplement businesses within my own business. From I started off for about 10 years. I was heavy into standard process, glandulars, those sort of things, where I would prescribe a lot of different supplements to help different body healing, whether it's ligaments or visceral. And I've also been a patient of taking supplements as well, with goal oriented supplementation. And I have to be honest, a lot of times, even I feel like I'm pretty good with taking my supplements and whatnot, but the consistency isn't always there. And the biggest thing that I found is you got to have something that people can do regularly, because it's not overnight that you get your benefits from the supplements. It's long, disciplined consistency over time, so that your body can do the healing that it's designed to do. And so for
Right.
me, convenience and does it taste good? That's the other part.
So you're answering my next question. I love it.
Uh-oh.
That's okay. No, it's good because, you are someone who takes products on a regular basis. You've always had supplements integrated with your business. And so, what I want to ask you is about the competitive advantage as far as why you chose. If you've done Zymogen, full scripts, you've done all the different Thorne, all the different typical medical supplement businesses, why did you say yes to partnering with Make Wellness when you've already had just a robust, multiple branded lines of supplements that you could offer to your patients? Why say yes to something else?
Well, the first answer is there's that one guy who goes by Justin Prince. Love that guy. So that was the easy part. Um, Number two, from a business standpoint, I would actually like to make some money off supplements and nutritional advice that you give to your patients. Back when I bought a huge surplus and private labeled, all the supplements, I was just in my mind, patients are going to be running it off the streets to get the supplements, right? So it was a big expense. And then I remember at the end of the year going through expired product. And that was like a gut punch. So, you think you might be ahead, but then half of all that supplement was had to be tossed out because it was expired. And so I was like, there's got to be a better way, right? And now with Make, there's an easier way. And I definitely think it's a better way. And we'll talk about some of the strategies that I've been able to help get my patients on it, and also how to help other practitioners incorporate it into their clinic.
See, I think that's very true because, when you're looking at business models as practitioners, you're already busy. And, you have 15 to 30 minutes with each patient, but that's not even typical for businesses that don't
Right.
have that boutique, private pay model. Most practitioners, they may only spend 6 to 7 minutes with the patient. And so if you're going to, number one, help your patient with leveraging supplementation for optimization and faster results, but you're offering too wide of a of
Yeah.
a of a variety. That lack of focus sometimes is the lack of competitive advantage. So what I remember you saying to me is, you'd rather turn to something that is new.
Yeah.
Any doctor can tell somebody to take an omega-3, but because you're in a trusted position, why not use that opportunity to educate your patients on something they don't know much about? You can
Yeah.
read about omega-3s, but most people don't know that there's a natural alternative now to peptide technology. So for you, I remember you telling me that number one, it's going to be easier for you to focus on a smaller brand of supplements, maybe something with six products. So you're able to
Yeah.
focus, which makes it easier for you to talk about. But the other thing for you is you realize that people weren't consistent. And a lot of that had to do with the user experience. So, why is the user experience with Make Wellness and our peptides, for example, not being capsules and the typical pills? Why is it easier for people to take our products than the millions of supplements you've probably recommended to them in the past? Because I know you've given them the perfect
Yeah.
protocol and they still didn't do what they needed to do.
Yeah, great question. The perfect protocol. I remember just spending so much time putting the perfect protocol together. And oh, I just can't take so many capsules. It hurts my wrist to open the jar, or whatever the excuse might be. It doesn't taste good, right? So with Make, number one, taste everything tastes great. So that's an easy one, and that's a really great way to be adherent if you enjoy the taste. So for me, I take all the products. We'll talk about that later, but the taste was a big thing. And the other thing is ease of use. So you got your stick packs or the easy capsules, and you just mix it with water. It's easy to transport. Uh, if you're doing injectable peptides, nothing against it, but we went to Whistler and then we went to Mexico. You got to keep them refrigerated, and there's some vulnerabilities. And so I still like to take some nutritions that are easy to take on the road. Patients are going to use them if they taste good, and that's been the key, because it's a lot easier to say, "Hey, did you take your one fit for the day?" Yes, versus eight
Right.
different capsules and you know
So
all
there's
that.
like that sex appeal to the experience where literally they're able to take a product that they can put in their water, it tastes good, and it's just a better user experience overall compared to how excited do your patients get to be told to take 6 bottles of pills that now they have to organize. Most people they're not gonna get on board with that as easy as it is. They can put something in their water and they're actually gonna enjoy it. People don't
Yeah.
necessarily enjoy taking a capsule, but they will enjoy drinking a flavored drink
Yeah.
that has technology to it. So we're curious, which peptides are you taking? And just kind of tell us a picture of like, what does a day in your life look like where you're taking the peptides?
Yeah, let me tell you about that. Here's what I do. So I wake up, and first thing I do is clean the kitty litter box, and then I take my lean. And during that time, I fire up my little ice machine because I like the little pellet ice. So I start with my lean, and then I like to mix energized and fit. I know that's not they're not pre-workouts, but if you add the two up, there's for me it's a clean kind of leveled out, focused and energy, and I really like the flavor. It's like a sour gummy worm. So you know, by the time I'm out the door, I've already had 3 products. Um, During my paperwork time, which is usually mid afternoon, sometimes late afternoon, I like to take my focus. Um, I take sometimes I'll take hydrate twice a day. I might have it if I'm doing a lot of cardio. I usually mix it in the afternoon as well, when I need some flavor. And then I take the calm, and then I'll also take focus. Oh, I already talked about focus, energized. And then I'm taking the sleep. And what I like about the sleep as well is I like wearing the eye patch. I didn't like it at first, but now, so I think if there's make on it, I'm taking it. And it's easy to recommend it because I actually have done it. So I try to practice what I preach, and it makes things a lot easier because when people see you or patients see you doing things that you say are good for them, but you're doing it consistently, I think it really has a big impact.
It totally does. And going back to user experience, because it makes me think about this. So you and I, after we have dinner, a lot of times we want something sweet. Like we just want a treat. And so we've done all the
Wow.
things like limited to dark chocolate or one piece of chocolate. But now after dinner, we just say, hey, go get the calm because the calm is like a pixie stick. And so you just
Yeah.
sit there while we're watching TV and we just, put it in our mouth and it has that lavender citrus taste. And again, it just goes back to for us, it's become more of a habit because it enhances our nighttime routine, our evening experience. It's a healthier
Yeah.
choice instead of going to make tea. or grabbing a little piece of dark chocolate, we remember, hey, why don't we take some of that yummy calm because it tastes good and it's actually going to help
Yeah.
wind us down for the evening. And I think that's been the biggest thing is the user experience
Yeah.
has been so great. And I haven't heard that highlighted enough from the practitioners. We're always talking about the science and the benefit and what it does, but let's be real when it comes to compliance and customers and patients, the user experience matters. So thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
Now, you are a doctor. Everybody here is some type of practitioners. And for us that aren't practitioners, we're always like, you guys are so smart, but you're still not scientists. So, a lot of times when you're talking to a practitioner and you're asking them, are they willing to look at the science and then start sharing the science? It's easy even for practitioners to get intimidated, like, hey, I went to school for chiropractic, but I don't know anything about peptides. I'm not a science peptide. So, how do you talk peptides with your patients,
Yeah.
especially because you're busy?
Yeah. So I like to keep it simple. Tangi knows that. I'm simple, right? Um, so so let's say it's an established patient. I will bring it up with our conversation. I'll just straight up ask. I'll try to ask good questions, and it'll be, "Have you been taking the peptide?" And they're either going to say, they look up and they're like, "What peptide?" Right? So that's answer number one. Second one is, yes, I'm taking peptides. And then I'll say, oh, what peptides are you taking? And they might be, oh, I'm on, GLP or BPC or whatever it might be. And I'll be, all right, that's great. Peptides are great. Have you heard of bioavailable precision peptides? And if they have, I'll kind of, just gently explain to them that we're also using some. Would you like to try a sample? So if they're already into peptides, I will actually give them a full stick sample. I say, hey, will you try this out and tell me what you think? Um, if they aren't taking peptides, then I will give a brief education and see if they're interested. So I'm not a promoter of peptides per se. I'm more of an educator. So I'm going to educate so there's no pressure and then, basically invite them to try it. And I like an easy soft sell than trying to do a hard sell. So that's where I start with. Let's see, did I
And
cover both
and when
scenarios?
and Dr. B, when you say
Yeah.
educate, are you spending 5 to 10 minutes breaking down deep into the science for every peptide?
No. No, no, we're going to keep it simple. I keep it down to what's the claim to fame of the peptide that I'm talking about? Typically, I'm talking about fit, uh, increased muscle recovery. Since we're working with your muscle, Mrs. Jones, we want to do the best we can to help you heal from the inside. The Make Fit peptide is going to help increase muscle healing. It's going to help reduce inflammation. All of the things that we want them to know about. So that's how I'll work that. So I'm not, if they want to know more depth, hey, Mrs. Jones, I'm going to send you I have pamphlets and I have a
Right,
booklet. So here's my booklet. Here's my picture. I have a little picture of my booklet. This will tell you all about it. But we're always in a hurry. So I don't
right,
want to, I don't have time to talk, you know, uh, not politics, but talk science
right,
to a real deep
right.
degree. Right.
And I think that's really important. And I'm glad that you shared that because the reality is this is something that you offer, but it's not the main thing. The main thing is for you to do your practice
Right.
and to focus on your modalities and help your patients. And so, but what's great about the way that you do it, it's so simple and duplicatable. You
Yep.
educate in 1 to 2 statements and you focus on the benefit. Then you leverage your resources. So
Yep.
again, practitioners, that digital flip book that you took the QR code, go in there because you will see a link to marketing materials and assets. So Dr. B leverages his marketing materials. He's got a full catalog and he's got what we call a rack card that has all the
Yep.
products and a brief descriptor. So literally, if people want to know more, he's giving them the materials, but he's not spending his patient time going deep into education. And most importantly, he lets them experience it. So he basically samples, lets them taste it, let them take it home. This is a funny story. So, what happens if the second or third time a patient comes back and you say, so, Sally, what did you think of the fit? And they tell you, I haven't taken it yet. What do you do?
So I told her, okay, will you bring it back to me next time? Because I want to use it. I don't want to let it go to waste. I just straight up, it's like, hey, that's a good product. Bring it back. I'll use it. And
And
the
you
fun,
know, well, she ended up purchasing, which is what is so funny that when you take something back, psychologically, it creates that value because people aren't used to people asking for samples back. But when you ask for a sample back, as if, it's worth $5 to $6, they're thinking, oh, this is actually really valuable. Now I do want to try it. And so she tried it and she ended up ordering the peptides on the very next visit. So I just remember that. I thought it was really, really funny. So last question for you, Dr. B, before we move on to
yeah,
Katie, is tell us when they say yes or when
yeah,
they show interest, tell us about your customer flow process. Because again, so far you've shown us that the way that you integrate this, you do it in a very simple, not very time-consuming way. And we have
yeah,
been able to build up a customer base that allows us to have a lucrative business. So what is your customer flow process once they say yes?
yeah. So I've got it down where it's pretty fast, pretty easy. Um, I don't know if I mean I'm a one person show, so I do my scheduling or my assistant will. So if someone's ready to get it in their hand, I'll walk them over to the stand, give them the product in hand, and then I'll say, okay, let me get your credit card info, and I just take a picture of their credit card they want to use, and I let them know, okay, great, I'm going to take your picture, I'm going to set your account up, I'm going to put you on subscription, so next month you're going to get your next shipment sent directly to your house. You got to give these supplements at least 3 months of consistent use so that you actually get the benefit. If you don't stick with it, you're never going to really feel the benefit. If you absolutely hate it, you can cancel at any time, but the subscription will give you the best price on your products or your supplements. And they're like, okay, cool. So then I send the credit card information to Tangi and she will create their account. And then the first round is going to get sent back to the office. I'll put that back onto the shelf. And then once that product comes to me, we'll change it back to the patient's address. So it's kind of like an indicator. When it comes in, you see, oh, Mrs. Jones came in, boom, on the shelf, change the address. It's also a good reminder to check in if you haven't seen her, how you doing, how you doing with the supplement? Are you taking your product as we discussed?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
what we wanted to share that we noticed is prior to having physical inventory, because in the beginning we thought, oh, we want to do this because we don't want to have inventory. So we're just going to have a picture of a QR code, and if people are interested in trying it, they'll hit the QR code and they'll take care of themselves. That was okay. But we decided, and it's
Yep.
important that those of you that are new, you probably have been taught that you can open a customer fulfillment account. So there's your account, that's the affiliate account, but you can also open a fulfillment account so that you can order a little bit of inventory. So at our office, we have about 2 to 3 boxes of every single product. And we order that from our customer fulfillment account because we earn commission off of that. And that is what we have in the office because now when people see it, they taste it, they touch it, they are more likely to buy when there's inventory in the clinic to walk out of the door with because it also feels like a retail experience. The only difference is instead of going to the front desk and having a credit card process, because my husband is a boutique clinic, he just takes a picture of their credit card and explains to them that his assistant or me is going to process it later that day, but they get to go home with their product. And then I do what we just talked about, where I process their order and then immediately change the address back to our address. And then on the next month, it goes back to their address. And now they're locked in for 3 months because he's already
Yep.
sold them on the value of the cellular turnover and the 90 days needed to get real
Yep.
results. Yeah, that's great.
Oh, I
Thank
got
you.
one other tidbit.
Okay.
All right. Hopefully this somebody likes it. So what I've found is you give people a full stick, they may never do it. They may toss it. I've found that I'll look at my schedule and I'll be like, "Ooh, I've got 6 people in the next 2 hours that have never heard about the peptides." So I have little plastic shot glasses, and then I'll bring in a conversation. Hey, we want to try our new fit peptide, and I'll let them try that as soon as they come in. And that way, by the time they're out, you can talk about it and then they're encouraged to buy it. So that way they taste it. And in most cases, they're going to like the taste and want to buy it. So that's my little tidbit.
I love that. I
Yep.
love that. Thank you for sharing, Dr.
Yep.
B. And if you guys have any questions for Dr. B, just throw it in the chat and we'll monitor it for you. But at this time, we're going to move on to our second guest, Katie Foray. So thank you for joining us tonight from New Orleans. So Katie is a practice coordinator for a med spa that serves more than 3,000 patients and clients. Now, Katie, thanks for joining us tonight. I want to start by asking you to set the scene for us and just tell us what it's like in your med spa to give us an idea of the type of business it is and what do you do there?
Yes, hi. So thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here. So I run our med spa and the practice. My sister is the nurse practitioner there and she's the owner. And then we have about 8 other employees. We have estheticians, another nurse practitioner who does more of the weight loss and women's health side. And my sister does more of the injectables. So I pretty much run the practice and run front desk and jack of all trades over there. So,
Yeah, you're the superwoman over there, Miss
right.
MVP. Well, I know that you're fairly new to Make Wellness, but you personally are quickly experiencing great results. So can you tell us a little bit about what your personal experience has been and what your results have been like taking the peptides?
Yeah, so I was introduced to it a couple months back, but wasn't really fully understanding it. I mean, peptides are pretty much everywhere in my world. In our practice, we hear about it a lot. We get asked about peptides a lot. We offer synthetic peptides, but never had a natural approach that we could offer. We had supplements, like Dr. B said, and I mean, boy, is that a pain to try to get people consistently taking supplements to feel the benefits. You know, they do it for a little bit and then they back off and they don't think it works, so they're not bought in. So I decided to try more of the peptides. My sister and I ordered a launch box and we kind of split it up and tried it. Well, I wasn't very consistent. And then 2 months ago, because I just got my third subscription box in, and I said I'm going to be really consistent, at least with two, maybe three products. So I tried the Energized and the Hydrate are definitely my go-to. I have them every single day. Can't go without them. Sometimes I have two Hydrate. My kids all take the Hydrate. I have 5 kids, ranging in ages 22 to 15, and they're athletes. So the Hydrate has been phenomenal. My daughter is a soccer player and she takes Fit and Hydrate before every practice and game. And she is like, I can't go without it. Please make sure I have it. If she forgets it, I got to bring it to school or dad's got to bring it to school. She's let some of her friends try it. I'm like, okay, well, if they want to try it more, let me send them a link and talk to their parents about it. But it's just been great for our family. And the Energized, I didn't even realize helps boost your serotonin. And I've always struggled with depression, anxiety since about 16. And I mean, I am just in a great mood. I feel great. I'm never complaining, never stressed out. So it's been really nice for me. And so I really wanted to start to share that with people because they're asking, like, you look good. You're always in a good mood. Like, what are you doing? What's
And I
worked for
love
you?
I love that you're supporting what Dr. B was saying about the consistency because when you have a business where you have something to offer, whether it's your services or a product that you sell, that's a powerful question to ask people. Have you been consistent? Because if the answer is no, they probably aren't going to get the results or experience what they could be experiencing. So that's going to be the next level of support as a practitioner that we want to offer people is for them to come and consistently see you, but they also need to be more consistent in their health habits, whether it's nutrition, movement, or supplementation. And for you, Katie, that made a huge difference. So once you had your own experience, how did you start introducing them to your clientele? And then what was their response, their initial
So,
response?
yeah, so we started with some pamphlets that the Emily Sarabalo helped me create and make with our QR code that we put around the practice. And we also had signs at the front desk, in the treatment rooms, and in the lobby that people could learn more about. They could take a quiz, and the quiz would automatically email to me. I could directly email back and forth with the patients. Or they just ask me about it at the front desk. Usually I'm drinking a peptide at the front desk and they're like, what's that? What's that blue drink? What's that orange one? What's the pink one? So that's kind of just been a conversation talker, but I love what Dr. B is doing and think that that would be so useful and helpful for me just because I do have my hands in a lot of things and don't want patients to feel like they fall through the cracks. But yeah, I mean,
Right.
consistency is the biggest thing. It's the same with skincare. I mean, when I'm selling them skincare and putting them on a full protocol, if you can give me 7 to 14 days consistently, AM and PM, doing what I'm asking you to do, come back in and let's regroup and chat. And once they kind of lock in and get consistent with anything, whether it's the peptides, whether it's, even the synthetic peptides or skincare, injectables, all that kind of stuff, once they're bought into that consistency, they're like, wait a minute, like I feel better, I look better. When you feel better, you start to do better.
Right. And I'm very curious too, because you talked about, and a lot of businesses will do this, where the first line of exposure is going to be marketing materials, whether it's a display of the product, whether it's, like you said, there's an invitation to do something engaging, like take a quiz, or they just see the brochures. And then for us, we have the magazines, the booklets, the catalogs sitting on our coffee table. Think of that as a first line of exposure. And as a practice and a business owner, you have to ask yourself, is that enough? Does that convert people into action? And that's when you get creative. Like maybe that's just the first level of exposure. But if somebody was to ask them, so like when Dr. B, on the second or third session, we'll literally just say, are you taking peptides? They're thinking, I don't know if I'm taking peptides. I saw a picture of a peptide. I saw the box of the peptide, but he will add to that by doing a sample. Now they're experiencing it. Or for you, if they see you drinking it and they see the color, I buy skincare based off how pretty it looks sometimes. I'll admit the
Right.
bottle looks really great. And I'm like, ooh, that looks
Right.
like that's really going to work on me. Right. And so these are
Yeah.
things that as business owners, we need to be thinking, what are your multiple layers of exposure? And what's something simple you can do, even if you have sample Saturdays or sample
Yeah.
Fridays, something to just increase that engagement? Because once they increase their experience, people are going to be closer to converting to trying something new.
Yeah. So we set up a peptide therapy consultation and
Oh, that's
because we
great.
were offering peptides, but it, some people sit down and with my sister, the nurse practitioner, and she's thinking, okay, were we talking NAD, GLP-1? And I mean, the girl sat down and said, I want natural.
Mm,
She said, let me pull in my sister. Let her help you set up your make. And we set her up on the muscle metabolic pack. And she's been on that for a month. And she came in and I checked in with her. Sometimes if they don't come in, I'm like, all right, let's get you back in 8 weeks. Even though I know 12 weeks is that, but at that 8 week, I can hold their hand and walk them through it, making sure they're being consistent, those types of things. So that's kind
right.
of the next step that we did. So we'll see how this works too.
That's awesome. Well, and because you guys are a big business and you have other employees, do you have any other providers right now that are Make Wellness affiliates with the Med Spa?
So I just signed up one of our estheticians, Stella, and she tried the fit and loves it. She works out, she teaches Pilates, she's very into fitness, and she said I ran out and I 100% felt it going to the gym. She said I didn't really, she's like I want to sell these, but I also need to experience it because if I don't know really what it's doing for me, I don't feel confident enough to talk about it, but she's already talking about peptides because she's very big into peptides and those types of things with her patients. So I was like, this is really good stuff. It's very easy to introduce and talk about. So she's really excited. And the other day, she actually was having somewhat of a little bit of a panic attack and went in my sister's office and I heard her and she was like, my heart's racing really bad. I don't know what's wrong. Do you have a beta blocker? And my sister was like, I have Calm. Why don't you try that? And it was probably 10, 15 minutes before we were closing. She had to just meet with a patient and then she was, ready to go. And she left. And when she came back the next morning, she was like, that really worked. She said, I felt so much better almost within 10 to 15 minutes just a sense of calm. And she was like, I went home and had to order it, So that was a cool experience. I was like, oh, I'm so glad it worked.
Well, congratulations on starting to build your affiliate team already. And I think this is important to realize because a lot of times as businesses and practitioners, we're only thinking about adding another layer of great products that are going to help our patients get better results. But we may miss out on the opportunity if you have a business model, like a chiropractor might have massage therapists that are working within their business entity. And those are great opportunities to also extend the opportunity to those massage therapists or other, like you said, your esthetician, and really be able to build a team where you're not the only person promoting because different practitioners with modalities are going to have different audiences and clientele based on what their skill set is. And for them to try and have their own experience and then be able to build a business as well. So in your med spa, which products have gotten the most interest so far?
Probably been the muscle metabolic pack. That's kind of our go-to. That's what people really are interested in, besides the Energize and Hydrate, because I talk about it all the time. It's just my go-to. It makes me feel good, and it's my jam.
So body composition is a big deal with the med spa, probably. Body composition
Yes.
and yep, the aesthetics part of it. That's great. That's great. Now, with the customers that you guys have been able to introduce the products to, how many of them would you say are on subscription? Like what percentage of them? Are most
I
of them
think
on
all of mine.
subscription?
I think all of mine. Yeah. Yeah.
And so
I
what's
mean,
what's
it's kind of the best way to save money. And also some of our GLP-1 users that have reached their goal. Because in our practice, we don't preach increasing dosage every
right.
month. We are lowest, most effective dose. In our clinic, that's what we do. So once you reach your goals, our goal is to kind of taper them off and maybe put them on the fit and lean. I mean, it is a cheaper option too, because, injectable peptides aren't cheap. So that is like a money saving for them as well. And that subscribe and save offer helps them save some more money. So
So do you feel like that's been the appeal to help your customers see the value of subscription, is helping them see this as the best economical way to long term promote and take care of their health
right,
as a
because you
long term
need three
investment?
months anyway. So I'm like, just
Right.
sign up for the subscribe and save, do your 12 weeks. And then at 12 weeks, if you're like, I don't need this, I don't want to take this one, or I'm taking this one more, then we can adjust it. But at least give yourself 90 days, pretty much with anything, like Dr. B said. I mean, I was like
Yeah.
shaking my head the whole time, like, yes, please be consistent. Give us 12 weeks. We can change your life.
That's so good. It's good to hear it consistently from two of you at least. That's great. Well, can you share with us the last question is what is the vision for your med spa and with Make Wellness being offered there?
Yes. So our vision is we definitely are getting a body composition device so we can incorporate that. I have a new nurse practitioner starting actually next week. She'll be starting on Tuesday. So to get her acclimated and introduced to these peptides as well. I didn't throw too much on her at once. I'm going to introduce it to her when she gets in the practice and she gets settled. And then a better checkout process. I love what you guys are doing. And I think that would be insanely helpful for us, especially I am so instant gratification. I do not like to shop online. I want it now. I want to spend my money and I want to take it home. So I think that's great because a lot of people, I mean, I'm in my sister's office digging in her Make Wellness boxes. Like, oh, try this, take this home, see if you like it. But we do that with skincare. If somebody's
That's
like,
right.
I don't really know. I don't want to do a retinol. I mean, I did it today. I was like, here, take this sample and just try it. So and 9 times out of 10 they come back and are like, give me the goods. So
That's
that's
great.
been I like what you guys are doing. That sounds phenomenal, very easy and efficient.
Thank you. And honestly, that is what these calls, these monthly get-togethers and calls, and also the Facebook group, that's what this is for, to give you guys a safe space where you can connect, share ideas, hear from real life peers and what they're doing and how they're doing this business so that we can all go back and be more efficient and try something new because we're all trying to grow our businesses. So I want to thank Katie. Thank you so much for being here to share more about your med spa. Thank you, Dr. B, for sharing about how we do things at the clinic. And thank you to each of you that have made the time to join us tonight. So before we go, I just want to remind you, I want to throw up this QR code again because, again, if you haven't explored the Doctor's Reference digital book, we are constantly adding more value to that. So please check that out. And also know that in the back of the book, you can submit your own testimony. We would love to hear more about how the BPPs have made a difference in your life. And we're actually collecting a series of testimonials from our practitioners that are doing the business. And so if you can kind of see here, you'll be able to go to the back of the book and where it says testimonials, you can click there and it will guide you step by step on how to upload your own testimonials so that where it says medical professionals and customer and affiliates and gym owners, you're going to see an array of testimonials that we'll be able to use. And as a final reminder, join our Facebook group. Typically medical professionals are not on social media a lot. They're not, heavily involved in groups, but just know that we have one so that if you want to network with someone or if you have questions, you have a place to go where there is a very special community built just for you. And as a final reminder, our next month's Doc Talk is going to be on January 8th, which is the day before my birthday. Yay! At 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern. So we hope to see you all there. And hopefully by then, you'll be bringing new affiliates from the healthcare industry with you on our next call. And if you want to go back and look at previous calls, because we have different guests and we have different topics, then on page 17 of the flip book, you'll see that our past Doc Talks have been archived in the Doctor's Reference digital flip book. So again, thanks everybody for joining us. Thanks for all your energy and the way that you contribute to the culture in this community. And have a great night and a happy holidays. Bye, everyone.